Chapter 1068 is finally out. Feels like it's been forever, right? A genius's dream. Dr. Vegapunk reveals his dream to Monkey D. What is his dream? We're about to find out. But first, hit that subscribe button. You know you want to. And also check out my last video. I ranked all the chapters post One Piece hiatus, right? So the last 15 chapters or so, I put them in S tier, A tier, B tier. It's a fun video. Go check it out. I also had a great theory video on who Vegapunk's son might be. Definitely want to check that out. Let's get right into the chapter. This one was very interesting. It is very fresh. I might do a part 2 or a further breakdown in a future video. But for now, I kind of just want to touch up on some of the events and some of the things that I found really interesting about this chapter. The Seraphims are going to have a nickname, right? So we call Kuma S-Bear. There's also S-Hawk, S-Snake, and what was the last one? S-Shark. Duh, that's Jinbei. Something that I found really interesting about that scene, though, was the fact that Sentomaru, where Sentomaru, is he on Egghead Island? I guess we'll find out soon enough, but I'm a fan of Sentomaru, honestly. I miss that boy. His axe, like, the only guy in the whole show walking around with a freaking battle axe. He's fat. He has a giant scar. He looks awesome. He has like a cute little haircut and stuff. He's a good looking dude. So going in order, right? The chapter starts off with CP0 approaching Egghead Island, and they're trying to make contact with Vegapunk, and Vegapunk's like, yeah, you know, just drop off S-Bear, the Kuma Seraphim. Just drop them off here, and we're gonna have no problems. You guys can go on your merry way. And they're like, no, we're kind of cold, boy. We're kind of cold, bro. We would like some tea, if you don't mind. And now Vegapunk's like, nah, I'm good, bruh. I'm good. Something we do find out in this chapter, though, is how different each Vegapunk is and how different their personalities are and how they clash, right? Because we do see how Lilith approaches the CP0 situation much different than Pythagoras, right? And also Atlas, which we see later in the chapter, get wrecked. She handled that very differently than some of the other Vegapunks did. So it is pretty interesting to see how their personalities clash with each other, which Vegapunk did touch up on that in the last chapter. This chapter was very interesting, right? We learned a lot of things. I think that's one thing that Oda has really been pushing lately, is he tries to jam each chapter with a lot of revelations, a lot of good information that we're gonna need to know for, future events, things like that. A lot of setup, right? A lot of setup. We learned that the S-Bear, the Kuma Seraphim, we learned that the Kuma Seraphim also has the Paw Fruit abilities, at least partially, right? He has that ability to teleport people, which in a way is almost like a more overpowered version of the Warp Fruit. We don't exactly know how the Warp Fruit works. We know it has something to do with some kind of teleportation, but is it stronger or more overpowered than the Paw Fruit? I highly doubt it. Especially the fact that I have been thinking a lot that Kuma is somebody that was just so overpowered. It's such an overpowered fruit, and he pretty much disappeared off of the show. We know why, but I wonder if it was for writing reasons too, where Oda's like, this guy's a little too overpowered. Let me kind of put him on the sidelines a little bit. Let me give him some other things and objectives to take care of and handle while the Straw Hats do their thing, because he's a little bit too OP, right? That ability is just too crazy. The fact that the Seraphim Kuma has it is pretty mind-boggling, right? Because that is an OP ability. And then we cut back to Big Kuma, and he's running away from Dragon, and he teleports himself using the Paw Fruit power, which we haven't seen that ability, the real one, get used in such a long time. So it's pretty crazy to see that Kuma is going to arrive at Egghead Island. I almost forgot that he had that power, right? Like, I thought that if he ended up there, it was going to be Dragon taking him there. I never expected this, that he was just going to teleport himself over there. Somehow I forgot that was even a possibility, right? So we learn about Vegapunk's dream. So his dream is to find that infinite resource, right? That infinite renewable energy that, in real life, we're still kind of looking for it to this day. We want to find something that is just like limitless. I know like nuclear energy is a huge thing right now, but Vegapunk's trying to find something that is going to end wars, right? Because most of the wars in One Piece, it looks like it has a lot to do with energy consumption and resources, and people trying to take other nations' resources and stuff like that, other islands, other countries, things like that. So it is pretty cool that Vegapunk, he is trying to do something, you know, positive and heroic. And Luffy's just like, I don't want to be a hero, bro. Why would I want to do something stupid like that? And Vegapunk's like, hey, whatever, but let me join your crew. That sounds like a lot of fun. I need to get out of here because I'm going to get killed. He knows something's up. He knows something's up. He does mention something that's rather deep. He says, after a dear friend of mine died, I found myself diving even deeper into the abyss to further his will. Some deep stuff. I don't think I've read anything like that in One Piece in a while. So, Vegapunk's dealing with some demons, right? I wonder who his dear friend is. Is it Kuma? It would make sense, right? Because I know we know for a fact that he's good friends with Dragon and Kuma, or at least he was at some point. So, is he saying that Kuma died, like the real Kuma, but now he's just like a shell of his former self? Pretty sure that's where we're leaning on. Unless it's an unnamed character we haven't met yet, that would be pretty interesting as well. But we already knew that Vegapunk knows too much. He knows too much, and the government sent CP0 to get rid of him, right? So that's what's going on. Didn't expect them to get to the island in this chapter. Pretty sick. They're literally on the island. They got teleported by S-Bear. And then here's where we get to find out that Sentomaru is likely on the island, which again, I miss that boy. It's been a while since we got some Sentomaru action. Sentomaru is so underrated. That was one of the first guys ever, maybe the first to use Advanced Conquerors or Rio. No, Rio, my bad, not Advanced Conquerors, but he used Rio. He was one of the first characters to ever do it. Maybe the first, you know, let me know if I'm wrong, but that's pretty crazy that he's making a reappearance. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Sentomaru. One of my favorite moments in One Piece was the Sabaody Archipelago. I love great villain moments, right? Because it just sets up, you know, amazing ways for the heroes to rise up to the challenge, right? So I love when the villains win, only because I know that later on the heroes are going to be triumphant and they're going to beat the villains, right? So that moment in Sabaody where like Sentomaru, Kizaru, and all the pacifistas are like ganging up on the Straw Hats. It's such an intense moment, man. I think that was one of the most brutal, darkest sequences in One Piece, right? Maybe somewhere in the top 5, maybe, right? Easily. Drop a like if you agree if that scene wasn't absolutely epic. We also find out that Vegapunk has a lot of toys at his disposal, right? Which we pretty much assumed that already. So apparently he has some kind of either teleportation device or invisibility device, or that was a hologram the entire time. I don't know. But he's like, I'll see you guys up in the, you know, the stratosphere. Bye. And he just kind of vanishes, which is pretty nuts. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. And then we cut back to CP0. They're dealing with, you know, the holograms and stuff like that. And Stussy seems to know more than she lets on, because she knows that they're holograms. She knows that you get shot with laser beams if you try to cross a certain point on the ceiling. So she knows a lot, and even Lucci's like, can you tell us beforehand, before Kaku gets obliterated, can you give us a heads up on what exactly you know, because it seems like you're hiding stuff. And they call it the Frontier Dome, she says. And then it ends with Atlas, right? Vegapunk Atlas, Wrath. She's like, I'm the only one that could beat up these holograms. And she wants all that smoke, and she's going up to Rob Lucci. Rob Lucci ain't playing no games, though. He's using like his 6-finger death punch cannon attack, and he pretty much one-shots her. She's out. She's out for the count. Luffy happens to be walking by. Luffy versus Lucci Part 2. That's pretty crazy. I was not expecting this so soon, right? Oda is really picking up the pace. I love it. The final saga is here, ladies and gentlemen. Will we get Luffy versus Lucci in the next chapter? Something tells me there's going to be something interrupting that. Maybe the Seraphims are going to pull up, right? S-Shark, S-Hawk, and S-Snake, which would probably be Boa Hancock, obviously, Jinbei, and the Mihawk Seraphim that we saw in the chapter, the Captain Kobe incident, which that chapter in particular made it very, very high on my tier list of the last 15 chapters or so since the hiatus. Go check that video out. It's a lot of fun. You know, tell me what your favorite chapter was since the hiatus. Trust me, they've been absolutely phenomenal, and you don't want to miss that video. If my voice sounds a little weird, I'm a little under the weather. I'm not feeling too good, guys. Not feeling too hot. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and that'll make me feel a lot better. All right. Anyway, hope you guys liked the video. Gonna do a part 2 of this chapter review because I feel like there's a lot to dive into. Just kind of doing a quick and easy little recap, right? And just touching up on a few things. But very interesting chapter. Will we get that rematch with Lucci and Luffy in the next chapter? Let me know in the comments, guys. Peace.